Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Today, I'm going to talk about a very important topic. Most of the customers have been asking for this, how to create drip campaigns using the Salesforce Flow Builder. So what I've decided to do, there are many ways to really create drip campaigns and to many different objects. This is just the beginning, so I thought maybe I should just talk about just the leads, very simple and straightforward. And this can, the logic is the same if you want to apply the same logic to any other object, like such as contact or custom object or anything, as long as you're straight away sending it to a single object, the logic would be the same. So just feel free to understand the overall logic and what lies behind and what type of an integration that you actually would do with MassMailer. But if you are a Salesforce admin, or maybe if you have enough knowledge about the Salesforce platform, how it works, you'll be able to kind of understand. But even if you're just a power user, that's okay. You get to know how the feature actually works. But ultimately, if you have enough technical skills, you should be able to figure this out your own. But we do provide professional services as well. So if you need any help in building such flows, you can let us know, and our professional services team can help you with the cost. So let's just get started. So to start with, again, as mentioned, the Flow Builder is Salesforce platform feature. So that's not something that we built. So anything that you're actually designing here, it's all within Salesforce. So basically, it's not something that we provided. Salesforce platform does have all the, the components, the platform features that you really need in order for you to build a flow based on your requirement. Okay. And what does MassMailer provide? We actually provide you an Apex class, that's called as Apex action that can be invoked from your flow, right? So it's a very simple hook. So it's just an integration point that you would have between the Salesforce Flow platform and MassMailer. That's called Apex action class, right? And what do we really support? We support, as I said, any object that you have enabled in Salesforce, whether it's a standard object or a custom object, as long as it's been enabled in MassMailer, you can send emails to that and to the parent object and the related child object as well, as you know. We also support the campaign object. It works a little different because you're actually sending out emails to the campaign members from campaign, okay? And we also support the Salesforce list view and MassMailer list view. So what it means, you can pass the list view ID, and then you can send an email to the specific list view. But how do you invoke? It's all up to you again. When you want to invoke these drip campaigns and what actually triggers. See, that has to come from you, meaning every client has got a completely different requirement. And that's one reason why we did not provide the default flows that you can just go edit. I mean, eventually we may just give a couple of the default flows, but we're still trying to figure out what is that default one, because every other client that we talk to, their requirements are different. We're still trying to find out if at all we want to package something that you can actually clone and then update. But I think once you kind of go through this and try to practice a couple of them your own, you should be able to just do it your own. Or you can learn Flow, the Builder platform, and then try it out. So it's not that hard. Okay. And again, when it comes to the campaigns, when I say MassMailer supports, it's basically the logic has to be all developed in Salesforce Flow Builder, and MassMailer does have that integration component, which will enable you to send drip campaign or a sequence of emails. That's what it means. This is just an example flow. Again, if you carefully observe, there's a start record triggered flow. It says lead, which means you're actually triggering this on a lead. And there's a triggering point. It says a lead is created or updated. So there's a triggering point. And there's some conditions there, right? As you can see, there are certain conditions. And there's a scheduled path. So there are three things that are happening the moment a lead gets created or updated and it meets certain criteria. Then the three scheduled paths that are happening. So one, it says run immediately. Second one, it says send first email. Third one says send second email. Again, this is not going to be the exact same thing what you're going to build. We just for the sake of demo purpose, we build this. So you may not have the run immediately thing at all. That could be something, that's something that we've actually done that for the demo purpose. Maybe you will need it. I don't know. So it all depends on what your requirements are and how you want this to be triggered. For the demo purpose, at least we just try to update a certain field. So that's why it says run immediately. And we take that particular the field, the updated time, meaning when you actually want to trigger this email, based on the date and time, we take the relative date or time to trigger the first email and the second email. I think once I show you a specific example, you'll understand. So just assume that the send first email and second email is the drip series, the sequence of emails. And it can go any number of sequence, right? It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can have something which is at the end of all the sequence, you want to do something that could be another path as well. So which is not mentioned here. We should have done this, but let's say, for example, lead status. You have certain lead drip campaign status on the lead object, right? So it's in progress, and all the way up to 5 series of emails that you sent, and at the end of series 5 emails that you sent, you may want to just update that status to complete, meaning the drip is complete. So that could be the last path that you can define. So I mean, there are so many variations that you can go with, but this kind of should give you a very quick overview on how this example flow could be. So this is just one example, right? And just to kind of again reiterate, the send first email, if you look at it, there's an Apex action. It says send email. That's where you actually invoke the MassMailer, the Apex action class. So, and I'll show it to you. I may not be able to build this. It's a little technical to really go through everything here, meaning like build it from scratch, and it takes some time as well. So I decided to just show you what we have done, and I'll explain to you every element, so that way it's more clear. Okay? So this, in this, I'm just kind of showing it to you again. What is our Apex action? The MassMailer provides. So the name would be something like MassMailer, email via MassMailer. That's the Apex action that you can invoke. And there are certain properties, as you can see. I've not listed out everything in this screenshot, but just assume that you'll have from address to address, from name to name, what is a template ID. There are various properties that you have to pass to this Apex action class. If you send an email via MassMailer using the UI, you know exactly what all properties it'll take, such as, who is the sender, who is the recipient, what template you're using. Is it a email that you're sending it now, or scheduling on a specific date and time? Do you want to suppress duplicates? So many properties that you would have seen in the UI. Pretty much everything we have it in the process builder as well. The complete list is, there's not the full list, but I've kind of highlighted most of it. As you can see, the Apex class parameters could be from name, from address, to name, to address, reply to. You can have additional names, 2 names, additional 2 addresses, CC, BCC, template ID, template API name. You can suppress email status value, suppress activity logging. You can suppress tracking such as Google Analytics, click tracking, subscription tracking, open tracking. You can provide the IP pool name. You can also attach the files by providing the file IDs. You can also have the subscription The group subscription feature enabled, provided you pass in that email group ID. You can schedule it on a specific date and time. You can also mention if it's transactional, non-transactional. You can also provide the list view API name or the MassMailer list view API. So either one of them. And if you're sending it to campaign, these fields are necessary, such as target campaign member status to send to campaign members, campaign ID. And if you're sending it to the child object, then child relationship name, child email field, and child filter criteria is mandatory. So again, these parameters have various purposes. We are actually going to come up with an article as well after this webinar. We're going to post an article on our website, the support portal, which will have the complete list and what it means and what values you need to pass. So that way it will be clear. Again, so going back to the actual demo itself, let's just go here. So I'm in Salesforce and I'm in the Salesforce setup. So you just have to click on the setup and you'll come to this tab. You type in flows and you will see this flows. Click on that. And there is something called lead campaign flow. So I'm going to go click on that. That's an existing flow that we have defined. And then it basically should give you the flow that I was actually trying to explain to you. So as you can see, the object is lead. So if I click on this edit, it is running an object lead. And then whenever lead gets created or updated, that's when I'm trying to invoke this. And there are certain entry conditions, as you can see, we are checking for, so this is all conditions should be met. We are checking for the prospect campaign value for this drip campaign type. So the drip campaign type is prospect campaign and drip campaign status is in progress. And the first name is test. This is just to kind of like, don't run it for every single lead that we create in a demo instance, right? So this is not going to be for sure. You're not going to have this. So these two, and then you can have any additional criteria. Again, as you can see, this criteria can be just applied right here by adding condition, and then you just add your condition. And again, it doesn't need to be the exact same thing what you see here, but this kind of gives you a template on what you may need to have. So these two are custom fields that we defined. So the three custom fields that we recommend, such as drip campaign type and drip campaign status. So the drip campaign status should at least have 3 values. We recommend in progress and complete and aborted. So three values have different purposes. And campaign type is again on you. So it doesn't need to be prospect campaign. It could be something else. So whatever name that you want to give. So that's why we want to make it flexible enough for you to really go, build this your own. That way it is not, something MassMailer provides the logic wise. You would have all the logic based on your company needs, but ultimately you're actually going to invoke MassMailer Apex action. So, right, so that's pretty much it here. And then if I show you the schedule paths, as you can see, there are 3 paths run immediately. And this, what exactly we are doing in that, I'll show it to you. And you can create more paths, as you can see. You just start to click on this plus and then create a path. Second, the send first email, the path. What are we doing here? So we are just trying to run that second, the sequence, right, or the path after 2 minutes of this campaign start date and time. Okay, so basically in the first one, run immediately, we are updating this drip campaign start date and time with the current date and time. And then 2 minutes after, we are trying to send an email, the first email. And then 4 minutes after, we are trying to send a second email. We are just given 2 minutes and 4 minutes just for the demo purposes, but in your case, it could be days. Like it doesn't need to be minutes after, it could be days, after, before, hours after, before. So whatever you want to like set this as, right? It's on you. So basically, it just kind of having three different paths. Each one of them is this, right? And then if I go here, and then if I click on this, immediately what we're doing, the very first path, as you can see, all we are trying to do is we are updating the drip campaign start date time as the current date and time. This is just to again say that, hey, I want to run this, immediately in 2 minutes. So in your case, again, if you would just want to send an email immediately, there's no need to really update this. Or if you actually want to schedule an email on a specific date and time, so for example, you're updating the lead and you say, hey, I want my drip to start tomorrow, not today, right? You can use this particular field for that purpose. So you just like update this field manually for tomorrow's date, and then you can run the sequence from there. So there are all sorts of variations and logic that you can come up with. So it is so flexible. The platform gives you so many features. Salesforce platform gives you so many features, which is, I think, mind-blowing. If you really compare this with any other journey builder, you could actually do a better job in Salesforce Flow Builder, but you need some technical expertise. It's not user-friendly. It's not meant for the end users. That's the reason why you need someone who is able to help your company to build these journeys. And that's actually the right way to do it, because you don't want salespeople to really just go build something on their own. You would want that to be controlled. So that's the reason why we suggest you go with a flow builder and get utmost flexibility that you need. So again, I'll show you an example as well. So, and then second path, it says send first email, and you're checking for something. This is an exit criteria. So here we are checking the drip campaign status is not aborted, meaning, so make sure the campaign drip campaign status field is not aborted, only then send this email. So meaning, let's say you have 5 series of emails that you're sending, like after 2 emails or 3 emails, you get a response back from the lead, and you want to take them out from the drip. And the easiest way is just go to that particular lead and then update that field as, okay, I want to abort this drip campaign for this particular lead. And that's it. And then the emails would stop going to that particular lead from that point onwards. Okay. And then this one, the Apex Action class, which is where you're actually integrating with MassMailer. So this is the only thing that belongs to MassMailer, or the package component by MassMailer, and rest of it's all Salesforce platform features. So again, you're passing in the record ID, which is nothing but a lead ID. This is a context. And there are many options out here, BCCCC, we have not given them. We given the from address, from name, and then we got the template ID. You can also pass the template API name if you wanted, and to address and to name. So very simple. Again, you don't have to use all the fields that are available there. The bare minimum fields for sure, the from name, from address, to name, to address, and then you got to pass the template ID as well. So that's the bare minimum that you're gonna have. And the second one is the same thing. There's no difference as such. It's just that it's going to have a different template ID, right? So this and this scenario, you can see this. It'll be the same thing, except the fact that the template ID would be different. But you can always change the from name, from address for each step, but I don't think that that would be necessary, just in case, right? So that's basically how you design and define your flow. And now if you go back to lead object, so let's just go to the sales app. I'll just show you one of the example. So there's a test lead that I just created yesterday. So I'll just show it to you, those fields. So if you go to the details, so first name is having test, I guess, yeah. So the drip campaign type, these are the three fields. All I did was I updated this drip campaign type to prospect campaign and the drip campaign status to in progress. And this gets updated automatically. Again, if you want this to be stamped, meaning entered by the user, where you can have the future date, and you can actually kick off this campaign on that specific date and time. I think that should be possible. But if you just want to send it email right now, you can send it, or you want to basically send it 24 hours from right now, or like whenever you update these fields, you can actually use a lot. So there are variations that are available. So again, based on what your needs are, this date time field can be used in a different manner. So if you look at this, this is just a drop down, right? Right now we have only prospect campaign, but again, in your scenario, it could be completely different. And you can have as many campaign types possible, just drop down. So every campaign type can have a different drip. So basically this could be a triggering point for you. Okay, what type of a drip campaign that I really want to kick off trigger. And then this is gonna drive again the status in progress about it. I would also add complete. I know it's not there in this demo. Complete means the drip is complete. That's how you know that, okay, the drip has been, it's been finished. So you can have that as a final step or final path where you're actually gonna go update this lead, as complete. So that's provided you actually send all the sequences, right? So it can be part of the final sequence, final path that you have, which is, let's say you have 5 emails that you're sending. The 5th email, wherever you're gonna have, you can have one more action that will basically just update this lead with a complete status, provided the email has been sent. So that logic can be embedded, no problem. So this is just a start date and time. As I said, this is going to give you flexibility on, when you actually want to trigger the second email, the first email and the second email. So you can choose the relative date and time, saying that, okay, if you want to kind of like trigger it immediately, you could do it like 1 minute after the start date and time, or it could be maybe 1 day after, right? So this just gives you flexibility on what could be the triggering date for your emails. So, okay, I have to give test as the first name. So let's do this. What I'll do, I'll just go here and create a test lead. So I'll call this as test lead 3. I would give this as this email address. And then I'm just going to go save this. I'm not going to enter the other information, the drip campaign. Let's make it as a 2-step process. Let's just assume that you got this lead from your website or anywhere somebody entered this lead. And now you kind of looked at the lead. Okay, now you think it's a qualified lead. You want to put them in a drip. So all you need to do is just go here, update these fields. I'm going to select this drip campaign time, and then in progress. That's all what I'm going to do. And this gets auto-populated according to our logic. And I would just go save this. So now if you look at it, it did populate the start date and time because we have, I think 2 minutes after or 1 minute after, we have the triggering point for the drip email. And after that 4 minutes, I think we'll get the second email. So that's basically is the logic. I should be receiving emails. I think I can check it for the previous one. Let's go here. Okay, so as you can see, email 1 and email 2 got triggered, and there is a 2-minute gap there. So that's the logic that we have. And again, it'll take some time for us to see these emails for test lead 3. But again, I think you kind of get an idea on how this can be leveraged in your own organization. So while we are waiting, any questions that I can clarify? Feel free to unmute and then ask me.
Hey, Siva, it's Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Hi. I just, two questions. The first question that I have is that I tried to follow what you were doing when you went into setup and then you selected flows and lead campaign flow. Are you saying that we have to set this up, or is this something that you kind of turn on for us that we then have access to?
You got to define this. So this is not, yeah, it's not a packaged component.
Okay.
It's unpackaged. So if I go to the flow builder and go back there, and I mean, this is just an example thing.
Yeah.
So it says unmanaged. So which means it's not installed or it's not packaged, such as this one says installed.
Yeah.
Managed. So so we still haven't packaged anything, just because so many variations every customer has a different requirement. So we still haven't figured out what exactly would be the bare minimum the client would need. So eventually we will manage at least one for the lead. So right now you just have to follow the instructions in this video. And we're also going to publish an article that'll help you. And we have professional services, as I mentioned to you, like we have various packages available, which would be the ideal thing. That way you're hands off and you can just have our team to help you out with these flows.
Okay, thank you. And then I have one other question. What you're going through in this demo is triggering different emails from being sent. Does the functionality exist where we would be able to look at, let's just say we send email 1 and we want to reference whether or not someone has clicked a link in an email in order for them to get email 2?
You can. That would be a subflow because that's an independent action that happens. So you will have to capture the link, the event called click on MassMailer email status object, and then identify that this click event is actually coming from so-and-so outreach. Then you can take another action. So it'll be a different flow, and it'll it's again going to be an auto-triggered flow on a different object called MassMailer email status. So if somebody clicked on a link, then you would actually take an action in that particular flow.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, so as you can see, the email 1 got triggered, and it'll take another 2 minutes or so to trigger the second one. So that's basically it. I mean, I don't think there's anything. It says it's a first email just for the demo purpose. I hope you kind of understand how this works. Again, happy to help you if at all you want to build something like this. Our professional services team can help you out. And you can actually learn from us, meaning once we build something for you, after that, if you want to have your own variation, you just have to clone that and then update the logic and then build your own. So that way, at least you have something to start with. Our team can also train you on that when we're actually going to explain to you what has been done. If you're techie savvy, if you have a little bit of a Salesforce platform skills, I think you should be able to pick it up, or else you can have your admin join the session and then take it over that way. So once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. So this is a weekly webinar that I conduct. So we publish the recorded webinar on our website and social channels. And you can also, you'll receive an email if at all you're part of email list. So every webinar recording, you'll send it. So there would be another webinar, hopefully next Thursday may not be the one, but week after that, I will be scheduling another one. So mostly I'm gonna just continue this flow builder. This time around, mostly I may be just talking about the campaign, which is a very common use case scenario, how to send emails using a campaign to campaign members. Again, I'll finalize that very soon and then I'll publish that. And here's my contact info and company contact info, just in case if you need any help. Again, this is conducted every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And if you're not a MassMailer customer, feel free to install the free trial. We give you a 15-day free trial. And also all these webinar videos are posted to our YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I request you to do so. Just go to YouTube and search for MassMailer. You'll find tons of videos there. And every video would be posted after the webinar. And we also publish them on our website and support portal as well. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Have a great evening. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.